Okay. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. This is going to be video 712. It's a bit of a test. Testing out the phone here. My other phone died. It's amazing how things kind of die at once. My computer died and then my cell phone died. And so I want to test out the phone camera, and I thought I would tell a story with the kitty cats here. But this is a story about me when I was a Boy Scout. And every summer, not every summer, but of the 4 or 5 summers that I was a Boy Scout, my troop, we would sell Christmas trees and pumpkins during the year, and based on how many hours you worked, you got a certain percentage of the profit. So the more hours that you worked at the tree lot or the pumpkin lot, the more benefit you got for summer camp. And I had the opportunity with my troop to go out to Colorado one year, and we went to Philmont, which, if you're not familiar with, Philmont is a scout camp that's probably the most famous scout camp. It's in Cimarron, New Mexico, and it's just a huge area, lots of trails and places to hike and, just everything. But it's a high adventure summer camp. In other words, you do a lot of hiking. It's not like camp in a tent and that's all you do. You do a lot of walking and seeing sights and everything. I had went there as a camper one year with another Boy Scout camp, and then the last year or two of my Scout life, I actually worked at that summer camp in Colorado, and part of the counselor who was in charge of our area, I was in the nature lodge teaching different nature stuff. But the director was good friends with somebody at Philmont. And so the second time I went out there, we actually got to see a little bit of kind of behind the scenes. And I remember the trip. We spent time out at the firefighters station, which is part of the, as part of the, excuse me, I'm not doing a good job telling this story. Part of the forest, the National Forest Service has a firefighting station out there that happens to be on the Scout property. And so while we were out there that day, visiting and letting them kind of catch up, it turns out that the firefighters had a cat who had kittens. And the kittens were like maybe, they didn't have their eyes open yet. So they had to be pretty young kittens, still weaning off of the mother. And kind of while all the boys from the summer camp, it was only like 4 of us, but while they kind of hobnobbed and, talked about, mountain climbing and rock climbing and everything, I was in total heaven just with this box of kittens, just playing with the kittens and loving on the kittens and everything. And I just had a very deep, what I would consider to be a feminine connection with this life energy, this box of energy, this box of kittens. And I could have if I died that day, I would have been happy just to be part of that. So plugged into the world. And what I consider to be kind of feminine. It wasn't masculine energy. It was definitely feminine energy. And, that was just one of those moments that, I had embraced Boy Scouting somewhat as a beard, as a thing to keep my mind occupied. I knew I was, I didn't quite know. I think when I was in Boy Scouting, I didn't know what transgender was. I felt my feelings, but I didn't know there was a name for it or a word for it. I just thought I was peculiar or odd. which I probably am very peculiar and odd this day, but you know what I mean. I thought, I was the only person in the world, and I had these feelings, and and blah, blah, blah. Insert stereotypical trans youth experience from the 80s. But like I said, out at Philmont, in this high masculine, men, environment, here I was with this box of kittens just plugged in to what I would consider to be very feminine, nurturing energy. Oh, you're going to get up? Are you going to leave? So anyway, that's kind of my story I want to share. And, it's kind of interesting, I want to say 40 years later, I'm trying to remember how old I was. I must have been like 14, maybe 13 or 14 at the time. So I could add a good 40 years on top of that, right? 40, maybe 30, I don't know. Just say 40. Some 40 years later, here I am. I was goofing off on the computer. I was writing a bit of a story for my D&D game, and I just sat back, and Harry, the orange cat, he came over to me and patted me, which is his signal to say, hey, I want to be held. And so I moved back in the chair so I could hold him and work with the other hand, at the mouse. And then that's when little Sebastian over here curled up as well. And, it's neat to me that, they both want to be with me. Now, granted, I feed them, and so I'm their caregiver, and they probably, associate me with food. I'm like I said, I feed them, and I'm also the warmest object in the house right now. I don't have the heat on, and it's probably about 40 degrees outside, so it's cold inside, and like I said, I'm definitely a warm object, so they're probably attracted to my body heat. But just holding them today kind of teleported me back, 40 some odd years to when I had that box of kittens, and I felt so good. And I remember I had a vision in my head, a daydream, as I was sitting there just holding these cats. And it was me as a little girl in my little dress, just holding the cats and just being so happy and whatnot. Can hear them breathing. But anyway, I thought I would share that moment. And it's a nice thing to, it is very affirming where I am right now, to be able to go back and acknowledge and remember what I was doing when I was like 14 years old. And a bit of closure too. But in any case, that's my story. And we'll, as soon as I get a free hand here, I'll see about uploading it, see if it works. And we haven't had our dinner yet. These guys are they're tired. Like I said, they just found a warm place to go. And I hope all is good near you. I both have, oh, it's the same cat. Sorry, that both had similar markings. I hope that you have a very happy Thanksgiving. I've spent many Thanksgivings by myself. I think I've mentioned when I was in college the first time, Georgia Tech, I was at Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech doesn't really give any time off for Thanksgiving. It just, it's like, well, much like Thanksgiving is today, it's on a Thursday, and then you have off on Friday, and then you go back on Monday, right? And that's the way Georgia Tech was. And so I really didn't have, I was in Atlanta and nowhere to go for a number of years. And so, you know, it was just one of those things. I got used to Thanksgivings by myself. And it's been a couple years since we've had cats. And so this is the first, you know, this is the first year that I've had kitty cats on Thanksgiving in a while. And it's just nice. It's just a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling to be wanted. And again, granted, they're cats and I feed them, so is the love genuine? I think it is. But it just is a good feeling. And I hope that everyone gets that eventually. For a long time, you know, my concern about transitioning was, and probably still is, you know, will I find love? Will I find companionship? Look at that cat. Isn't that just cute? It happens when it happens, you know. And I'm very thankful today that I'm getting some cat loving. Even if it is bribery. Like I said, I feed them. But I do feel pretty smug, pretty happy right now. So anyway, I wish you the best of luck in your transition. And I can't say that all of transition's woes could be solved by a kitten. But I'm pretty damn content today. And this is it. This is my day. So until next time, I wish you the best of luck. Woo! And bye-bye. Good luck.